Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
In Gambia, deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. Ak Wave, Bustle Mufine, Wave, your money is yours.
It's Tuesday, the 4th of November 2025, and you're with West Coast Radio. Coffee time with Peter Gomez. And after speaking to our two doctors, medical doctors, it's now time to bring in our third doctor of the day, the regular doctor on the program, every Tuesday on the program, Dr. Ismail Ceesay. He's the minister responsible for information, media, and broadcasting services. And today we'll be trying to unpack the political tremors following the NPP's rally in Sukuta at the weekend, addressed, of course, by the President, President Adama Barrow. What does it signal for governance? What does it signal for party dynamics? What does it even signal for the road ahead? The much talked about 2026 presidential election. Of course, we'll talk about accountability and all that, what with talk still going on about the audit reports. Dr. Ceesay, you know, whenever you've not been on the program for just 1 week, it's like you've not been on the program for a year. Thanks for arranging last week, Dr. Samate. A lot of people really appreciated his appearance on the program because a lot of developments in the health sector that were not spoken about before suddenly, you know, became public. Yes. And a lot of people, you know, acknowledge the fact that, yes, there's a reason why we are having, you know, lower maternal deaths and all other, you know, kinds of problems we used to have in the past in the health sector. So congratulations to him and the ministry and all those who are investing in the health sector. Yet again this morning, we had credit being given to the First Lady, whose foundation focuses on what the health of, well, health in general, but particularly yes, the health of women and yes, children.
Yes. She's currently building some maternity wards across different healthcare centers in the country. She has also invested through our foundation to ensuring that we have access to oxygen at the hospital.
Yeah, well, we're told that the entire hospital, the FSTH now, is now piped.
It's piped now.
You know,
so you don't have to bring in
exactly.
gas
and
bottles.
what, they have what, two plants, two
yes,
oxygen plants?
Exactly.
There are three at Deban.
Yep.
Major developments.
Yep.
Huh?
So that is why I've always been insisting that Dr. Samata should come, because I've seen him present the transformations in the health sector, very close range in cabinet, when we had a cabinet retreat where every minister should come and present your priorities and also your achievements. And I've also had access to the data insofar as healthcare is concerned. And I've seen the transformation, not only in the hard aspect, but also in the soft aspect. What is hard? Hard are the equipment, the types of equipment, the amount of equipment, number of equipment we've procured so far, and ambulances under his leadership has never happened before in the history of this country. The number of hospitals and health posts and healthcare centers we've built never happened before in this country for the first time. Now the soft component, for the first time we have what they call a postgraduate school at the School of Medicine at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, producing locally trained consultants and specialists and doctors. And I don't have the exact figure, I think I read last time, number of healthcare personnel, from dentists to midwives to you name it, has increased, in fact almost doubled from compared with what happened before 2016. So these are huge, not only the numbers, but also the quality of healthcare personnel. So I think that is why I was always insisting to him that, look, you need to go and tell your story. I can only go at a certain limit to tell your story, but you have to go yourself and tell your story.
You know who you should bring to the program next?
Yes.
My good friend Musa Drame.
He will come.
When? Next week?
Very soon. I'll work on it.
Okay.
He also has done a very good job in that sector.
There's a lot of noise around the fisheries sector.
But when he comes, that noise.
The latest is that we've sold marine resources to the EU for less than $1 million per annum. That's
well, I think when he comes, he'll clear those doubts and bring clarity to those issues.
Don't worry, I can tackle Hamad Ba.
Brilliant.
You know. So where do we start today in terms of
Today
updates?
we have updates from the Ministry of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services.
In other words, you
My
can say
ministry.
from my exactly. That's what I wanted to hear.
Reminding all media houses, journalists and content producers of their vital role in promoting national stability, social cohesion and public trust through what we call responsible and ethical journalism. While we acknowledge the media's contribution to transparency and democratic governance, we have observed recent trends that fall short of professional standards. Therefore, we urge all media houses, media practitioners, journalists, content developers to uphold accuracy, fairness, and objectivity, and avoiding misleading or sensational reporting, and refrain from content that may incite division or undermine our peace and security. Now, we reaffirm our commitment to free and responsible media that upholds the right to information while safeguarding national unity, peace, and development. So this was a press release.
What necessitated it?
We've seen how people have reported in a manner that could endanger social cohesion, but also public safety. For example, there was this incident in, I think it's Nemakunku, I can't remember where some young people were playing football, I think, and a police officer came to remind them of their responsibility in, disturbing the neighborhood, and there was something happening. And the manner in which it was reported by, I don't want to name the media.
Let's leave the media
I don't want
outlet
to
out.
exactly,
Yes.
but it was very
it
was irresponsible and reckless.
What did it suggest?
And bad. It suggested that the youths were playing peacefully, and the police just went and attacked them and trying to abuse or also humiliate them, and that was not the case. I know that we live in a world where people want instant news. People want to have breaking news. There's huge competition. The space has opened now, but we need to be mindful of how we do the reporting, and we really urge everyone to
because boys playing football anywhere and everywhere is a problem for some people.
Exactly, for some
I have that in
people,
my own neighborhood.
Exactly.
And
also I've also seen incidences, for example, where died some crime. Crime scenes are normally almost protected for investigation purposes, and you see some journalists, just to get the false news, they'll go and take videos and in fact release photos that are normally not very, you're not supposed to release those photos under those circumstances. That could cause trauma for the family of the victims. And we know that you want to get the news first, but really, to be honest, we really need to be. Okay. So that was just to remind journalists.
So your Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, literally, whatever sends word out, right? So how do you intend to tackle that? Surely not just by a mere press release.
No, we are working on reforms. We call them new media reforms. And we are almost done with these reforms. And by January, we'll take it to Cabinet very soon. Once it is approved, we'll start implementing in January. And this will change the media landscape.
Okay, and what changes will these reforms bring about? You'll start training people to become more professional?
Capacity building, but we're also we are going to make sure that every journalist is accredited in this country now. That you cannot just wake up in the morning and call yourself a journalist and hold a microphone. You must be accredited. There should be standards. But also the new media houses, because the new media houses, like the online media, are now competing with traditional media. But traditional media are licensed and they are working within the framework of a regulation. We are competing for the same thing and they are not regulated. And we think that is not fair. For purpose of accountability, I think all media houses in this country, whether online or traditional, must work within a framework of some regulation and guidelines. And we are working on this because obviously, when we were making the regulations, there was no new media. The focus was on radio stations, newspapers, and TV stations. Then now we have new media, the online news. But they're doing pretty much the same thing as the traditional media. And you also compete for the same market. They look for adverts, you look for adverts. They publish news, you publish news. But they're not regulated, they're outside of regulation. So nobody holds them accountable for their omissions. There are no guidelines for them. And I think this is not going to happen. This doesn't happen anywhere now. So they must be regulated now, some form of regulation, not trying to censor anybody, but at least they should work within the framework of some guidelines. So they also have some
of them are not based in this country,
That one is difficult, but for me, those ones in this country we take those ones seriously. Those are our partners. Those outside is difficult because they're not even news. Anybody can, like for example, Peter, today I can go and open a Facebook page and call it is news online. Portraying myself. If you are outside, the enforcement can be. But for those who are operating within the country, those we recognize, those who come to our press conferences, those who are registered with the Office of the President to make sure that they cover news by the President, those who benefit from privileges, like for example, the Chinese government sends a lot of media houses for training in China. Some of these online journalists benefit from that. Journalists benefit from training, but they are operating within this country. We cannot regulate the entire online space, but at least where we can start with to make sure there are guidelines that they can follow. I think that is important. For example, I was listening this morning to, I think it was someone from you who said that at least 1 hour on health or 1 hour on education.
Yeah,
I think
somebody reacting
exactly. I think these are some of the guidelines that we should say, you know what, as a responsible media house, you should at least dedicate a percentage of your time in things that are civic, on health, on education, not just opening your line for every Tom, Dick and Harry to come and start spewing insults from morning to evening and not benefiting anything from it. So obviously there should be, new media must be regulated. That is the trend. Even though, yes, the existing regulation does not include them, because when they were being made, this new media wasn't here yet, but now we need to also make sure that we act in line with the current realities.
Okay, all right. So that press release, any other updates?
From the Ministry of, let me see, International Cooperation, no, understanding, okay, we take one from gender. Briefly,
okay.
Fatou Kinte presided over the signing of an MOU with Qatar Charity.
You know, she challenged me one day. We met at some event, and I said, "You're my good sister, but you still refuse to come to my program." And then she said to me, "When was the last time you extended an invitation?"
She hasn't been here yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's right. I haven't extended an invitation.
Well, I'll extend my invitation.
Okay. Okay, you'll do that for me?
I'll do that for you.
Okay, Fatou, you're listening. Now, don't expect any invitation from me. It will come direct from Dr. Ceesay.
So she signed an MOU with Qatar Charity to empower women and support vulnerable groups across the Gambia. The partnership will implement sustainable programs that promote women's empowerment and strengthen social welfare services nationwide. Now then, we have something from the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, which we think is important. They announced the development of a comprehensive student handbook and code of conduct to standardize school rules and dress codes across the country. This initiative reinforces discipline and respect in schools while safeguarding students' constitutional rights. The ministry urges all students, parents, and teachers to continue adhering to existing school rules as the new handbook undergoes cabinet review and approval. Now we have finally.
How soon do you think that? Okay, it's
still being developed, and it comes for cabinet for approval. Then
it hasn't got to cabinet.
No, not yet. Finally, the Ministry of Communication, Digital Economy, they launched what we call the We Elevate project.
When is the minister coming to this program?
Okay. I think I owe you 3 ministers now: Fisheries, Gender, and Digital Economy. I'll work on it. Then I promised you that health will come, and he came. So I always fulfill my promise.
It took months before health came. So yes. I mean, if it's just 3-4 weeks, we can wait.
They will come. Now, this We Elevate project is a major women's empowerment initiative in collaboration with the Digital Cooperation Organization called DCO and key national partners. The project aims to equip women-owned enterprises with digital and business skills, boosting their participation in the digital economy. As Minister Lamin Jabi noted, empowering women in the digital space is key to driving national progress and inclusive growth. So these are the updates from government. But if you permit me, I'd like to, I don't want to say response. I don't like to respond to Mr. Esafal, but I think if some...
Well, you are responding to Mr. Esafal.
I hate doing it. I don't like doing it. But, I mean, if he comes and starts to misinform the public, I think it's right that we come and debunk that misinformation and expose his lack of understanding and complexities our government works.
Yes. Yesterday we had Esafal of APP Sobea on the program.
Yes. And whenever he speaks, I am vindicated.
Oh.
That it would be the greatest danger to this country if we should hand over this government to Mr. Esafal and his ilk, because he just shows a lack of understanding of basic governance, how government works. Let me just focus on one thing about the youth and sports. He said the government allocated only 130-something million to youth and sports. And that means that the government is not serious or taking youth matters seriously. But I think it's important for us to remind Mr. Fall that when it comes to youth development, the investments are deployed outside of the budget. That is what they call the sports levy, which is in excess of over $70 million every year that the Ministry of Youth and Sports gets from the sports levy to support sports development in this country. All the investments that the ministry is doing to support the national team, the basketball team, the football national team, the cricket, the it's not from this. This 134 is mostly for PE, personal emoluments, operational costs. But when it comes to the development aspect of it, these are sourced and deployed outside the budget, like I said, to the sports levy. But also, youth issues are mainstreamed across government. Investments in higher education is investment in young people. Higher education has built many vocational training institutes in this country, both multi-purpose and specialized. In Kanilai, in Julangel, in Wasu, they are building a specialized which will focus on aquaculture in Tujere. They are building another specialized which will focus on the agro-business in Pachar. And so many other investments. We have given UTG over 3,000 scholarships for young people. In fact, the UTG that he recently said that the degrees coming from the toilet paper degrees, insulting not only the institution, but also every lecturer, every student, both administrative and academic in that very noble institution. All these are youth investments. In gender, you support young people when you invest in gender. When you invest in roads and jobs, it's all about, so youth issues are mainstream across government. You cannot just look at a budget, but also I just want to rectify him that, and another thing he said is that the reason why we reduce allocations in key sectors is to service the debt, which is false, because why we have not reduced key allocations in the service sector, and I'll tell you why. We've in fact increased. Let's take the key sectors. Let's start with, let's say, agriculture. Agriculture got 961 million 2025. 2026, they are going to get 1.7 billion. That's an increment. It's not a reduction.
Almost double, eh?
Exactly. Now let's look at education. They got 5 billion and 86. Now they're getting 5.9 billion. That's an increment. The only reason why we've not done increase there is because it's not up to service debt, it's to reduce the deficit, which now stands at 0.3% of GDP. One of the best. In fact, for the past 5, we've never had that. 0.3%, that is GLF. But the overall budget reduction is 1%. This deficit. The standard in most African countries around 6-7% deficit. We are able to do 1% deficit in our budget. And you look at other sector, which is a critical sector. Let's look at even youth and sports that he mentioned. He said youth and sports, we've reduced. Youth and sports, last year they got 135 million. This year, they're getting 146 million, so there's an increment. And they also get money from the sports levy and other outside budget resources. So we've increased budgets for almost all the ministries, not only the key ministries, in agriculture, in youth, in sports, and in health. So there's no reduction to pay for the debt services. And regarding this debt, these are legacy debts, Peter. If you are a household head and you borrow money from the bank that goes with interest, and unfortunately you pass, that debt has to be paid by your family. They don't clear that debt because you are gone. So your family has to pay that debt in addition to now meeting the needs of the existing family. And remember, these loans were taken at a time when the exchange rate was $40-something. And there was a period where we are not paying the interest because of during COVID. There was a kind of I don't know how they call it in economic terms, but we are not paying, and now we have to pay with interest has gone up, and so these are legacy debts. It's not like what this government is doing. It's not borrowing more, because we are focusing on more concessional loans. That is low interest. So when it comes to the OP budget, I've seen him talking about that. The OP budget, that 700 and something, it's not even enough to run the OP. Remember, you have to focus on the state guards as well. It's part of the office of the president. Office of the president is huge, is big, and the vice president's office has almost 6 agencies under it. They have early warning, they have social protection, they have National Disaster Management Agency, they have NANA, they have food safety, they have population. All these agencies are very critical agencies for any country, and they're under the office of the vice president.
That was not his point. He wasn't downplaying anything. Well, apart from saying maybe they are small units.
I'm not supposed to say they are small.
They're small units. No,
small units.
His contention with the OP allocation is the way it's now split between OP and OVP.
No, but that doesn't. You know why it doesn't matter? Because before it was lumped under OP.
Yes.
Then there was confusion within the public. Say, how can OP eat all this money?
Oh, it's not because it was the figure that was criticized?
I'm not sure what that is the reasoning.
Okay.
Like I said, what I'm saying is that whether you make it OVP, OP, doesn't matter. The allocation is there for OVP and for OP. I don't know the reason why they do it, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that if you know how OP is run, you would know that the 740 million allocated is not even enough to run.
How much would have been enough?
I don't know. I wouldn't know. What I'm saying is that it's not enough. This is the presidency. This is the presidency. With all the security that comes with it, with all the travels and everything that comes with it. And the role the president is playing.
Let's remind SFL, why the presidency needs all that amount and even more.
So, and then...
What is it spent on?
No, on security. The state guards are there.
Okay.
The president has to travel.
Okay.
This OP has to pay salaries.
OP has to pay salaries?
Of course, yes. Those salaries are from most of the budget. Who pays the salaries of those who work?
Is that not from the wages bill? There's a 10,
no, but every ministry has
10 billion something.
No, what I'm saying is that every allocation there is as an aspect of personal emolument.
Yeah, no, you're talking about wages.
So my ministry, no, that's salary. My ministry, the money allocated to me, that's why I pay the salary. That's why the staff of are paid.
Oh, really?
So if they give me 68 million.
Yeah.
My salary, PS salary, all the staff are from that 68 million. It's not like the money is, the salaries are paid different. No. The salaries of those working within OP are paid from there. The state guards, the permanent secretaries, the cleaners, of their salaries are from there.
Okay. Well, we'll be once the budget is passed.
Of course.
We will be.
So it's not like that money is they just put it on the Barrow's table. And he's saying, no, Barrow doesn't even see that money. President Barrow doesn't even see that money. That money is used to run the state house.
Who sees the money?
The
Chief of Staff.
He doesn't even see that money.
Who sees the money?
The money is at Treasury. And it's
okay.
So then, his focus on that. There's no country in the world, Peter, that doesn't take loans. They are good. It's good to take loans because you need them to invest. And what we've done is to invest in infrastructure, which is the foundation for it. Even SR found himself is HIP.
SR is what?
He himself is HIP.
What's HIP?
Highly indebted person. He's a highly indebted person. And he cannot deny that. There was an audio where he was on TikTok, I heard him, he was defending that everybody takes debts in this world. Somebody was asking, but they said that you have highly indebted. He said that's normal. People who want to progress needs to take loans.
So because he's highly indebted, he should not.
So he
should not criticize.
If a human being needs debts to develop, what about a country? All countries take loans, and that is a fact. Even the rich countries take loans. So that is a fact.
Could you also be an HIP?
Me? I'm a civil servant. I cannot be a HIP. I'm not a businessman.
You cannot be.
He calls himself a lawyer and a businessman. So me, I'm not a businessman. Now, and also you gave SR almost 2 hours, I think. What baffled me was that out of these 2 hours, SR could not give any solution. I didn't hear anything about his agriculture policy, his economic policy.
He doesn't want you people to steal his ideas.
His policy on how to provide jobs for young people. His policy on the healthcare sector. His policy on education. His policy on empowering women. There is no policy. That is why I said there is no opposition in this country. Opposition are supposed to be the alternative. That government, you are doing X, Y, Z, but there are faults in this X, Y, Z. These are the faults in this X, Y, Z. We are proposing this, and this is going to be the outcome.
And then they do your job for you. Like UDP says, your TVET strategy, was extracted from the 21-point plan.
Which 21-point plan? UDP,
you know about UDP.
CA came. You see, this point plan was initiated first in this country ever by Citizens Alliance, our 10-point plan, and UDP stole parts of our 10-point plan, and they plagiarized part of our 10-point plan.
UDP did that.
Yes, we were the first party in this country to come up with a summary of a 10-point plan on housing, on education, on digital transformation, on security, you name it. And UDP also stole part of our 10-point plan and have it as a part of the, I don't know whether 20-point plan, I don't know what point plan. There were aspects of our point that they had inserted in that 10-point plan. So there are similarities, because if you look at the political spectrum, parties that are center-left will have similar policies.
So CA is center-left and UDP might be center-left
might be center-left as well, based on their 10-point plan. They are not right, they are not far left, they are somewhere hovering in the center. And for us, ideologically, we are very stable. For parties like UDP, ideologically, they fluctuate left and right depending where the votes are. So they are more reactive than proactive. But that is, by the way, discussion.
So, okay, if they're claiming that, you know, the current NPP-led government strategy on Tibet, you know, was borrowed from, you know,
but that's what they call the national development. That's the national development plan.
Are you saying that might have been also in some of the things they borrowed from the CA's 10-point plan?
Let me tell you something. The national development plan, URUA, came before the UDP's 20-point plan. Everything this government is doing is in line with the national development plan. Be it Tibet, be it on women, being on youth, being on road, it's from the national development plan. That is what guides our transformation as a country, as our development. That's our development agenda.
The IRUA came after the 2021 presidential election.
But
their strategy was released in the lead up to the 2021.
But there was a national development plan.
That one preceded the IRUA.
The IRUA is an extension, because the first one has come to an end. There was a national development plan up to 20, because it came to an end. Then there was a new one. But what I'm saying is that this government, our actions, our policy directions are dictated by the National Development Plan. So the UDP cannot tell me that we plagiarized, the NPP, the government plagiarized, because the National Development existed before the UDP's 10-point plan. Okay. And our 10-point plan came before UDP's, and they plagiarized some parts of our 10-point plan.
Okay, that's between CA and
now,
UDP.
And then, so SR gave no alternative. I would like for him to tell me that this is what the government is doing.
No, he says he will be. You will steal his ideas.
No, I'm coming. No. Okay, don't tell us even what you want to do. I'll make his job easy.
Okay.
Tell us what we are doing in the healthcare sector right now, and why it is not working. If you said you want to drive a car, you are a driver. I give you the chance. You get into the vehicle, and for some reason you cannot move the vehicle. If I want to replace you as the driver, I'll tell you what you are doing. That is why the vehicle is not moving. I'll tell you, because you're still on neutral gear.
Yeah, your gear is in the wrong
But
place.
You cannot tell me that, your car is not moving. Okay, tell me why it's not moving, so that I'm convinced that you can drive. Or so that those passengers can be convinced that, yes, this man knows what he's talking about. He's saying that this man is not pressing the clutch in time by releasing the brake, or is not bring the gears on neutral. So that I'm convinced that, yes, he can drive. But if you just tell me, passengers, this man cannot drive there, the car is not moving, give me the vehicle, I'll drive, why should we trust you? You have not convinced us that you can drive. So don't tell us exactly what we want to do. That's up to you. But tell us what we are doing in the education sector, in healthcare, in youth, in women, in infrastructure, that is not working. That is why the outcomes are as you are now portraying them. So we want him to give us, not only him, all opposition, to now focus on policy discussions.
There is no opposition.
There is none.
So,
unfortunately, that is the...
We'll come to that later on.
Okay, we'll come to that.